All right, welcome back, everybody. It's ITU. We are definitely going to get into what's going on, with the FTMO challenge, what's going on with prop firms all together, what avenues you can look to be taking right now. I know a lot of people are hurting out there, a lot of people upset about what went down. And for a lot of you guys, if you're already funded, just pay attention to yourself, man. I would be a lot diligent with my account because you blow it, it could be a wrap for you to ever do it again. I know they're going to take care of their current clients, but there and after the fact could be a whole nother thing. But welcome to the channel. Those of you students that are already here, you guys already kind of got the synopsis yesterday that I talked about. We're going to do a little more deep dive with more information we may have up to this point, and we're going to talk about what you can do in the long run and things, right? We know this is United States based right now. Could that go globally? It's high probability that that could happen, right? It all depends on the regulations in different countries. I know the UK will be affected. I know Canada will be affected, Australia, amongst some others. But we're gonna kind of keep the focus right here in the States, because this is what we got to deal with. So, Mike, what do you know thus far about what's going on? Just from your side, man.
Still, I mean, very little, only because the whole industry itself is being completely flipped upside down. First, we had the MT4 thing. Now we've got, FTMO. The MT thing is bigger than just MT4. And we had talked about that before, going regulated, et cetera, et cetera. All in all, what it looks like to me is that with everything going on that has happened over the past 5 years, for example, the pyramid schemes, like IML, the traders that took people's signals and claimed that they were theirs, or you know what I'm saying? And like that's bigger than anything because you had a lot of people that were educating, taking signals away from other platforms. So that was happening left and right, where you had a lot of people that were claiming to be gurus or educators or whatever, and uh, they were fraud, right?
Yeah.
The other part of it is that a lot of these guys in connection had their own brokers, right? So one thing that I had noticed going through multiple, like if you went through KT or if you went through Hugo's, those two. I went through those two, but also Prosperity or Eagle FX, right? There's multiple platforms that brokerage you could have used. So the biggest question was, hey, what's the best broker to use? And being that they were all unregulated, what it turns out is that it's like there was one guy that was creating these broker pages and broker businesses able to take payments via Bitcoin, of course, because it's untraceable,
Yeah.
and was handing them out to influencers. So Q Banks got one, KOT. Ken had one, Forex.
Mm.
There were a couple guys that were behind different ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what was happening is a lot of these guys were having their brokers around and people would sign up for them, let alone end up with rug pulls. The most recent one that I came across more than anything was there was a Twitter beef between a couple of guys that I know. One of them, I'm not familiar with Ryan Gilpin himself directly, but I do know people that are familiar with him. They've learned from him,
Mm-hmm.
etc. But he was beefing with somebody on Twitter that I know because he got called out because his platform, I forgot which one it is, which his broker, which one, Sway Markets,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? Sway Markets had a quick rug pull. It was one of the longest wicks that I had ever seen on NAS 100,
Wow.
but they last less than a minute. It's a quick move, and then it doesn't post a candlestick because it's not there long enough. It just needs to be quick enough to hit a price, close everybody's SL or blow their account, one or the other, and then go into the direction
And it was going
that
to go.
it needed to, right?
Right.
So when you look at sway markets on this move, there was a side-by-side comparison of sway markets and a legitimate broker, and the legitimate broker didn't have the bearish wick. It was the bullish move. Bullish move was huge off of rates, and we've seen how rates happen, right? So it happened quickly on the move down and just went straight up and kept going up as if it needed to, right? It followed the protocols, but everybody had already been taken out.
And I've heard that from
So those
constant
rug
guru
pulls,
brokers,
that's one
constant guru brokers.
those rug pulls are very, very common. You got to think, none of these brokers were regulated. It was a benefit to be able to trade them, but if you were making good money, they're gonna find out, because all you're doing is, how we've always said, you're taking somebody has to lose for you to win, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're banking on majority of their customers losing, because your brokers are getting swap fees, right? They're getting spillage, this, that, and the other, or slippage, sorry. And what they're doing is they're benefiting from all of this profit wise, right?
Right.
So these guys were making like $1 million a day almost, right? And upwards of that high per day.
Yeah.
So when those numbers start coming through, and it's an unregulated system, it's a bunch of scammers, right? Which we understand is completely illegal. Look what happened to what I refer to as the mothership of Forex trading, IML.
Yeah.
Boom, it's done. Everything else is crumbling after that.
That's
the government is starting to get on Forex trading. Let's just be honest. The government is stepping in. They're trying to get everything regulated. They're trying to make everything legitimate. They want their hand in the pot, so to say. But there's also benefits to that, because when you are on regulated services, a regulated broker, you have certain insurances.
Exactly.
Right? You have certain protections as the trader, and they're ready. Even though their hand is in the pot, hey, sometimes it's the best way to go and just say, look, we understand you. We know what you're going to do as our government. You're going to you're broken off something here, but I'm still protected. With all these other guys, you're not protected.
Right.
So there are pros and cons to both of them. The biggest pro is that you could trade with $100. Can't necessarily do that on a regulated, right? So I don't know. Go figure. It's just a matter. This is just thing happening. First, it was all these platforms and services. Then it was all these gurus and all these people flexing on Instagram. Notice you haven't seen anything on Instagram for at least a year and a half.
Yep.
Right? All of them have been wiped out. And it's now they're getting into the prop firm side, because these prop firms are making a lot of money. They're making a lot of money every single day, and banking on people losing, right? Because people feel that's why they have their challenges as they do. They may seem easy, but they're not. They're not. They take work just like anything else.
Yeah.
But those levels, you got to think, whenever something is created that seems easy, there's a reason for that. And that's because it's not as easy as it seems, like when you're actually doing it. So majority of the people that sign up, they're signing up and they're over leveraging, trying to pass this challenge in like 2 or 3 days, and they're losing $600-700.
Oh, of course.
Time,
you can't
right?
you can't flow through a trading account for a long period of time doing nothing like that, man. If you're not honing the skill at all, then you're gonna rush. Even if you do pass, you get the account, you're gonna eventually blow it with that type of infrastructure that you build it in your trading skills.
Absolutely. Just like I tell everybody when they're doing the trading plan, I expect you to fail the first time, right?
Right.
What do you think FTMO and all these other guys are doing? They're expecting you to fail at least the first time, and if not, 2, 3, 4, and 5 times, because people just don't get it.
Right.
They're banking on that, and it happens more often than you think. there's more people losing than there are winning those things.
Of course. And that's in the industry
Right. So the ones
overall.
that are winning a trading plan, that's why it's so important to follow the trading plan. So, FTMO is legit. So when I can make this comparison, don't think I'm speaking in illegitimacies. But
Of course.
FTMO is to prop firms is like IML to Forex trading in the sense of what I refer to as the mothership, right?
Mm-hmm.
So IML was so big. For those that aren't familiar with it, IML was so big. They had people like Black China. They had Kevin Garnett. Had who else? 3 or 4 athletes and select these individuals to promote the service, right? They
Mm-hmm.
weren't trading, but they were promoting the service. That's how big IML was, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're gone, right? So,
Yep.
and come to find out, I mean, of course, I mean, it was clear to see once you were in there. If you were in there for at least 30 days, you saw the bullshit writing on the wall.
I missed out on all
But
of that. I
that
missed out
goes
on all
down,
of that. Yeah.
that goes down, brokers go down.
Yep.
Now FTMO goes down, you're gonna start seeing what top tier go down. You're gonna see what there's like 2 or 3 of them that are also out there that are pretty big. Actually, it wasn't even FTMO. It was what
MFF,
was it? My
my
Forex trade.
Forex funds.
Yeah,
Yep.
my Forex funds. That was the big
Yep.
one.
Yep.
That was the big one actually. That was like what 2, 3 months ago.
Yep.
And they found fraud on those guys. They found fraud in there, which doesn't surprise me. But now FTMO is gone. You're going to see top tier go. You're going to see all the other. You're going to see them all in a matter of time. Right now, what FTMO is looking to do, they do want to bring in U.S. customers again. But when you do, it's going to be an extensive background check, including criminal record. If they pull up your information and you have a criminal record, you're not going to have an FTMO account. Personally, I don't feel it's even going to get there. I don't even think it's going to get to that point. I think it's going to be gone here today, gone tomorrow, and we're just not going to hear from it again. I was thinking about this yesterday. Zay and I conversation because for forever right now, as it stands, forever Forex trading has changed completely, the whole landscape completely.
Yep.
And I'm in the position where I'm like, I'm going to pay attention to the charts, of course, right? Because I can tell what's going to happen economically by watching currency charts.
Yeah.
But as far as trading it, I'm in the position where I'm like, I'm done. I'm done at this point. I'll continue to pass along what I see on the markets, in the markets to you guys, right? But as far as how Zay is talking about pivoting, I'm pivoting into the position of actually starting to do options trading because that's going to go nowhere. As long as there's a stock market, options trading will be there, and you can trade price to price just like we do in Forex, right?
Yeah.
Price to price,
Yeah.
price to price. You don't have to sit there and buy a whole bunch of single shares, weather the storm, and hold this, that, and the other. You can trade price to price and just put some puts or some what are they puts and something else. I forgot what they're called, but what we refer to as buys and sells, right? So I think personally, I think that's the pivot for traders because as we learn these charts, a chart is a chart. A candlestick is a candlestick. We understand the same thing over and over again with regards to Bitcoin, with regards to Euro USD, with regards to Tesla. It doesn't matter the category it's in. A chart is a chart because a candlestick is a candlestick. It doesn't change.
Yeah.
Right? You might have different ways of seeing it when you've got gaps, this, that, and the other, which now if you're going to pivot to the same route that I'm going into, then staying in the news is going to be a must because you have to understand what's going to be going on with earnings calls, with 3, 6, and 9 year plans, right? Stuff like that. you're going to have to pay attention to everything going on with whatever company you're going to be investing in and what's going on economically.
Right.
Because whatever goes up goes down. Same way as currency trading, but still, it's just based on companies at that point.
Right.
A little bit different, same chart. So I can still take my skills that I'm utilizing and apply it to that instead. So for those that are currently in any form of prop firm, especially FTMO, if you are in that, stay in it as long as you can. Right? Stay in it as long as you can, but also stay in the news with that too, because if they say, hey, we're going to be closing shop by this date, like my Forex funds did, guess what's going to happen? Your money is going to go completely gone. So if you can get whatever you can out of it, milk it while you can. Because I don't think they're going to be around forever. I don't think they're going to be around for that much longer. So take advantage of it while you can. If you want to get into something right now and you're looking for short-term prop firms, like I said, top-tier trader possibility. Understand this, though, is if you go top tier, you can also go KOT Forex and trading, and you can do it through Trade Locker, right? Me personally, I'm not going that route at all. We talked about Trade Locker, but the reason why I combine all three of those is because QBanks owns all three of those. So you have a commonality between those three products and him. So if that's the case, look,
you're gonna have some problems.
You're dealing with at that point. It's him and Anthony.
You're gonna have some problems. So I wouldn't even.
They're the ones that are running.
Yeah, I wouldn't even myself personally. I try to stay myself away from any gurus, any people from the IML, Fallout tier, that whole shebang. I do not mess with at all, right? So I'm always going to try to find some things for you guys that are definite alternatives to those measures. So like I put in today, Nova Funding, True Forex Funds, as far as I know, have no connections with those guys. So I'm trying to keep you guys as safe as possible in that realm. Now, how far they're going to be running and how far they're going to make it, it's a whole nother story. But while they're around, like Mike said, take advantage of them as much as you can. On top of that, like we talked about before, or even Mike mentioned these regulations, right? They cracking down right now. So we already know the rules and regulations for the United States. They're not letting you mess with CFDs as far as NOS 100, the indices, gold, silver, things of that nature. And they want to be very protected as far as risk is concerned for their traders. Well, a big portion, if you look back at 08, there was a huge fallout due to people that was using massive leverage and blowing their accounts, uneducated people using a bunch of their personal funds and going into huge debts, trying to be traders and trying to be in this game. So they're not moving smart at all. So they don't want those type of liabilities on us either. So we like Mike said, I really like we want the protection. You want the insurances on your accounts. Is Forex dead? I don't think by any means. You're just gonna have to either one, work the prop firms you can until otherwise, or really you're going to have to learn this skill and you're really going to have to build your own accounts up on regulated brokers. You know what I mean? There's going to be the few unregulated that are there right now. So I'm using 24K markets. I'm still using Forex Glory and things of that nature, but they're going to have a probably shelf life as well. But getting yourself in a position to be able to pivot and build that capital up and say, hey, yo, I'm going to go to Forex.com or Wanda, whatever. Those are going to be your uses. You can still make the same bread trading regular Forex pairs. It's just you're going to have to actually hone this skill set. You can't BS around. You can't just get a quick 10, 20, 30, 40, 50K, 100K and do it like you could in the past. You're going to have to be legitimate. There ain't nothing wrong with that if you step up to the plate. So people are going to decide right now that they're going to probably back away from prop firms. I'm going to be honest with that. Those that's going to be in and able to utilize the ones that are out there, they're going to do it. They're going to do it to the best of their ability until they can put themselves in position. My whole idea of this is I'm going from where we at, and I'm going to work both. I'm going to work my unregulated broker. I'm going to work my regulated broker as things go along. And then when I can fully pivot, I'm going to fully pivot to full regulation, and ain't no problem. Same with, I'm getting my withdrawals, so on and so forth. And like Mike said, you got options trading available. You still got, there's still money to be made in stocks. This skill set is versatile. So I really love that aspect of honing this skill set. That's never going to change. And we're going to keep our space, education based. So you'll never have to worry about this scheme of things that they've been running as far as taking education and then going and scamming millions out of people out creating brokerages and all this other BS. Screw all of that. Take the skill, use the skill, and take it and use it any other avenue that you can use it in. And we're going to be here to help you throughout that. All right.
Well,
And
you're in a position
futures has
that,
prop firms as well. Just real quick, checking the futures prop firms; those are legitimate over here.
well, you're in a position right now where your brokers are still alive and good to go, right?
Yeah,
So people use your brokers and your pathway. They're going to be good for the time being. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
that might be a
yeah,
way to kind of hit the shallow end and slowly pivot, right? Rather than completely change everything, right?
right,
Something to consider. I mentioned, all these platforms, this, that, and the other. Consider this is that as far as ITU goes, we're not out here doing what everybody else was doing, right?
right,
But unfortunately, we're the minority in this whole thing, right? Meaning
right,
these guys are out here giving signals, paying residuals. Like, for example, IML, what they would do is you would have your leg, and then you would have everybody underneath that with their own legs of people, right?
mm-hmm.
And it would just be a pyramid, right?
Right,
You're at the
right,
top, you got everybody that you've recruited, right?
yeah,
And everybody that was underneath that, you got paid residuals for. That doesn't happen here. So it's not like we're sitting here saying, oh, hey, you have to come to ITU because of this reason, because we're giving out
mm-hmm.
these signals, we're,
Mm-hmm.
providing all this value, etc. No, we're doing something different where we're not going that route. I'm not getting paid a residual for anybody that signs up on here, right?
Yeah,
It's the sign up is to keep the business going. You know what I mean?
right,
So
right.
we're not getting a per sign up payment
No, yeah, it is 100% the value. The value you guys
where
see in us
everybody was, they didn't know
in this
how to
community.
trade over at IML, but yet they would tell you, let's hop on this
Right,
call with this person, hop on this call with this person, they'll help make money, help make money. And it would sell itself, and people jumped onto that shit during 2020 in the pandemic because people were worried, and it was a way to get a lot of money in a quick amount of time, right?
right.
So it's a little bit different on this end. But unfortunately, we're this big in
Mm-hmm.
compared to a market like this. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
we're a drop in the bucket, you
Right,
know.
right,
But if there were more that were like us, it could have been a whole different situation. It could have been a whole different pathway. It could have been, but one bad apple spoils the batch. So
right.
that's where now it comes into perspective. What do you really want to do? And are you ready for this change?
Mm-hmm.
Because while it's here, like I said, use Zay's pathway. His brokers and whatnot, they're working good. They're not going anywhere from it. But is he going to be ready when they do? Absolutely.
For sure.
So it doesn't stop the education either way. I mean, shit, you don't make, what I'm saying? Like, you don't make money without the information,
Right,
or at least make the decisions in your life.
right,
By understanding the charts, as people know, I was able to sell my house at the time where other people are selling it now because now they're way late to the game.
mm-hmm.
So I was able to do that understanding economics, right?
Yep,
Understanding the charts, when things were going to pivot, when things were going to change, when things were going to get bad. Okay, cool. I wait to that last minute. And that's what everybody wants to know is, when do I get in? When do I get out? Just because I'm not putting in a actual trade on the phone doesn't mean I'm not using the knowledge. You know what I mean?
right,
So
right.
there is a lot of information, a lot of useful data out there, and you just need to apply it how you feel is necessary. But
Most definitely.
changes are coming. Speaking of
Most definitely.
changes, there's a positive though, which makes me very, very interested how this is going to affect, because they literally have taken away unregulated brokers, and they're starting to take away the prop firms, etc. But what do we change? What do we trade here
No,
in this market? We
super.
trade value. We trade index values, right? What are called ETFs, exchange traded funds. That's what
Yep.
we're doing.
Yep.
Guess what happened today? The SEC and Bitcoin and some of these cryptos, right? There's 11 of them. They all got approved for ETF trading.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
You
Official
take
announcements.
away the platforms, but now you make this currency ETF tradable. See, when we were able to trade Bitcoin and Ethereum, and we were trading index values, this, that, and the other, we were doing it, but on unregulated brokers. So now they're going to allow crypto to be traded through regulated brokers. Pretty much what it is. But
yes, sir.
there you go. It was a
so that's to tell you right there. That is really getting yourself set up to trade efficiently, trade under the right regulations. And that's not a bad thing. It's there to protect you anyway. Right? So if you're like, yo,
yeah, it's definitely
yeah, so it's better to just be able to put yourself in the right position, right? If you like Mike said, these unregulated are gonna be here so long. So use them while you can, right? You got the skill set now. You've been training, you've been practicing, you got a trading plan. When it comes time to pivot to regulated, all you're gonna do is to build a plan, build your trading plan, following their guidelines. It's unfortunate, it sucks. They're not gonna give you that high leverage like you would like and all that other stuff. You might have to build a little longer over time, but the upside is still the same. The upside is still the same.
Yep.
So it makes no sense for me personally to not still take advantage of it just because I gotta get better at my game. It's whatever, step up to the plate. Um, so that's pretty much the gist of it. If you want to strictly, you're like, dude, I want a prop firm thing. Like I said, futures trading still has this futures prop firms there that the United States does regulate that we can utilize, or you're just gonna build your own capital from scratch. Either way, work on your craft, build the skill set, and take advantage of that upside. You know what I mean? And in time, of course, it's going to get better. Yeah, you might be at the $400 realm, the $500, $1,000 realm, but as you grow, it gets better. You get to that 5-figure, 6-figure, then you're not even going to care no more. It's not even going to be a thought to you. You're just in the beginning stages, and everybody got to start somewhere. Everybody got to start somewhere. So other than that, I think we touched on pretty much everything. Any questions, anything? Jackson, that makes sense for you, brother?
Yeah, I was tracking the whole way, man.
Fantastic, fantastic. It is not necessarily a time to have to throw in the towel, throw in the hat, or anything that nature. It's literally, like I said in the beginning, is pivoting yourself because a lot of people may have been brought through those different guru areas or through an IML or something like that. But right here at ITU, we keep it all about the knowledge. You got to keep it all about kicking you that game so that you can utilize this in your own personal life. And getting involved in that message is unnecessary. It's unnecessary. And yeah, you're right. If something like this came up a few years ago, fantastic. And it's unfortunate, but as they fall, we rise. It ain't no big deal to me. So let's continue to press forward. Let's continue to press forward. Let's get into these charts. Mike, I don't know if you got time to tap in or not with that. I know you have to go here in about 10. But I can take the reins from here too as well. It don't matter.
no, I could stay on for a couple more minutes. I was actually pulling up what's it called? The Forex Factory right now.